You're about to get a demonstration on the protective qualities of Avery Dennison's Supreme Defense Gloss Paint Protection Film. Here we have a painted hood, and Reiner marks the center point with blue fine line tape. He now installs a piece of Avery Dennison's Supreme Defense Paint Protection Film to one half of the hood. Now let's look at the testing elements. Large rocks for scratching and high impacts, gravel to test high abrasion from everyday driving, wet dirt to test cleaning properties, a slingshot form, you'll just have to wait and see, sanding paper to test fine dirt and effects of sand while driving, mustard, which mimics high acid chemicals that can cause stains, a wire brush that is comparable to branches that may graze across the vehicle, and a screwdriver that covers severe scratches that can happen while the car is parked on the street or in a parking lot. And lastly, a propane torch to heat certain areas to mimic the effects of the sun. So let's begin, and for protection, Reiner puts on his safety glasses. And since you are watching, you should too. We begin with the most extreme test, and that is high impact objects, in this case, a small stone. Reiner loads it into a slingshot and aims at the painted side of the hood. It's high impact for sure, and here's a close-up of the result. Next up is the Supreme Defense side. And here's the result. Let's take a close look, and on the painted side the dent is very large and the paint is severely compromised. And on the Supreme Defense side the dent is smaller and the paint is still in good condition. Now we move on to hard asymmetrical objects to test scratching. Reiner rubs the rock on the paint and then the Supreme Defense side. He repeats the steps using different angles on the rock. The paint shows very clear damage, while the Supreme Defense shows minimal effect. We move on to gravel and tight abrasion. Reiner takes a handful and scrubs it onto the painted side in a circular motion. He repeats the same steps for the Supreme Defense side. The dust is wiped away, and here are the results. Swirl scratches on both sides, but more so on the paint. The next test is on the cleaning properties, and a handful of wet dirt is thrown at the hood. Reiner wipes away the dirt on the painted side and then on the Supreme Defense side. Look how cleanly the dirt removes just with wiping from the Supreme Defense while spreading onto the paint. The sandpaper test is next, and it's a big one for scratching. Reiner rubs the sandpaper on the painted side of the hood and then on the Supreme Defense side. The wire brush is now up for testing, and is waved back and forth on a large area over the paint and on the Supreme Defense side. The severe scratch test is next, and the screwdriver is dug 3 times onto the paint side and the Supreme Defense side. The lines are clearly visible on the paint while nothing shows up on the Supreme Defense, which self-heals immediately. Staining is always a concern, so let's see how this test goes. 1 teaspoon of mustard is applied with force to the paint side as well as to the Supreme Defense side. Both samples are then baked onto the surface using a propane torch. This mimics the heat of the sun on high stain situations like bird droppings. This concludes the testing, so Reiner will clean up the hood, and let's check out the results. To get a true result, heat is added to the Supreme Defense to self-heal the top coat. There is very clear and permanent damage on the painted side of the hood, while minimal to no damage on the Supreme Defense side, and a good example is on the screwdriver test area. The final step is to remove the Supreme Defense to see how the paint fared underneath it. And the protected paint is in pristine condition, while the unprotected side has severe damage. So it's clear that Avery Dennison's Supreme Defense Gloss Paint Protection Film is a trusted choice for your next PPF install.